Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new, and welcome to my end of the year money series. Throughout this month and also going into December, we're going to be talking about all of the money routines, all of our money routines. We're going to be talking about our annual money routine, our monthly money routine, our bi-weekly, bi-monthly, paycheck to paycheck routine, our weekly money routine, and our daily money routine. So I'm basically just going to be sharing all of the things that we do to prepare for the year, prepare for the month, the week, so on and so forth. My hope is that this information in this series will be useful to everyone out there, whether you work a full-time job like us, whether you have a side business like us, whether you have side hustles, whether you are a full-time entrepreneur, a full-time business owner, whatever the case is, my hope is that you will be able to find some value in these videos and in this series. But before we hop into this very detailed video, I do want to give a shout out to today's sponsor, North One. Thank you, North One, for sponsoring this portion of today's video. North One is better banking for small business owners, and serving small business owners is actually all that they do. North One allows you to manage your money from anywhere. So whether you're at home or whether you're on the go, everything you need to manage your business finances is going to be right at your fingertips. And the best part is that you'll never have to step foot in a bank branch ever again. I actually haven't been in a bank branch since we paid off our car like 4 years ago, because there is no need. So because the North One's features are designed for small business owners, you'll have access to features such as mobile check deposit, cash withdrawals, and even the ability to send and receive ACH payments and wire payments. North One is an FDIC insured account that can save you time and money. It actually integrates with the accounting software that you already use, which is going to save you so much time when it comes to bookkeeping. And with the North One's envelope feature, you can automatically budget and save for things such as rent, payroll, taxes, and more. With the North One, you'll never have to pay for overdraft fees or NSF fees, which can save you hundreds of dollars per month. And if you're wondering what the card looks like, she's super cute. This is what the card looks like. North One is offering my viewers $10 when you open and fund a new account using the special link in my description. Sign up today at apply.northone.com/Shay. It only takes 3 minutes of your time, if that. Again, the link will be down in the description box and in the comment section. Thank you again to North One for sponsoring that portion of today's video. Now let's hop into this video. Okay, you guys, so we are inside of our actual 2022 family budget, and there's a lot going on right here, but we're going to walk all the way through it. And I don't actually want you guys to focus so much on what you see over here. As far as the budget goes, I want you to move under my face and look at the notes section, the to-dos, the goals, all of that good stuff. I personally think the very first thing that you want to do when creating an annual budget or a yearly budget is to make note of everything that you need to make note of. So, you know, kind of just having a section, which we're calling the note section here, where we're writing down as much information as we can, like brainstorming a bunch of information about events, functions, birthdays, and all of that stuff, that all of those things that are going to take place in the new year. Now, personally, I know all these birthdays right, you know, off the top of my head, so I don't really have to write down those, but there are a few things that I would like to make note of. I have made note of a few things here, such as our car insurance premiums being due in June and December of 2022. In previous times, they have been about $1,800, but we did recently get a speeding ticket, so I don't know if that's going to increase it or not, but I did want to make note of that. HOA fees are due in January, each January. We have Sirius XM radio that we pay for every 6 months. And feast your eyes on my improper spelling. Also, another note is that we have weddings, or we have a wedding in April. Yes. And a wedding in May. And then also, like I said, this, for further information, I would encourage you to kind of write down all types of birthdays and other events and things like that. As for 2022, you know, we're still in the pandemic, so I'm really not expecting a whole lot to happen. As far as like us traveling and things like that, like currently at this very moment, we don't have any travel plans. However, I will tell you that we do have flight credit from a flights that were canceled in 2020. So we do need to rebook those and book a flight somewhere, because we can't get our money back. We can just do flight credit. So we do need to do that. But as of right now, we don't have any of that taken care of. So I'm just going based off of literally what I know is happening in 2022. Also, I think it's important to put a place or notate some to-dos that you would like to do in the new year. Not exactly goals, but more like to-dos. So it might be calling some company, calling your cable company and trying to get a lower rate on your cable. Or it might be calling this person or calling that person, or taking a class or taking a swim class or something like that. Just kind of making note of some things that you would like to do in the new year. Not really like goals, because a lot of times I feel like some of our financial goals really have to do with like saving this or investing this or paying off this amount for debt, or, those types of things typically, but really just focusing at this point on things that you would like to do in the new year. Next up, I do think it is worth talking about your goals, and we will kind of come back to the goals because I really just base my goals off of what we actually can accomplish. And I would say to wait on the goals. The reason why I say that is because you have to look at your income, your expenses, and what you're actually capable of before you start setting these goals. And so that's why, although I've already done it because this is our actual budget, I think that it works best if you focus on the actual budget and mapping out your income and expenses and all of that before actually setting some goals. So the first thing that you want to do is really outline your income. So whether you have a partner or whether you budget independently, doesn't really matter. What you want to do is kind of map out what income you are intending to bring in. If you budget together, then obviously it's still like a you type of situation. So when I say you, either you or you and your partner or whomever else it is that you share money with. So for us, we have me and my full-time job, and I am paid on a bi-weekly basis. That means that according to my research, we will have a 3 paycheck period month in June and then also one in December. Also, we have my husband's full-time job. He is paid bi-monthly. And so we do anticipate him getting like a bonus in April. But other than that, provided he renews his contract and all that, this is what we are expecting. Same thing for me. I'm actually kind of in the process of trying to get a new job by January, hopefully. But as of right now, this is about what we would be looking at. So we also have business/side hustles, which we pay ourselves from those sources on a monthly basis, and that's normally about $5,000. The thing to remember here is that we're budgeting based off of what we really feel confidently that we will bring in, that you really feel confidently that you will bring in. And it's important to budget based off of that minimum amount. So you don't really want to curate a monthly budget or any type of budget based off of a hope and a prayer. So if you really are contracted or signed up to work 40 hours per week at whatever hourly rate, then you want to use that figure for your budget. You don't really want to factor in any kind of overtime or anything like that. Obviously, some people rely on overtime and side hustles and stuff to be able to meet their monthly needs, but it's still important that you're creating a realistic budget. So like I was mentioning, bare minimum that we would pay ourselves would be about $5,000 per month. And so what we have here is the totals from each of us and what our net income will be, because this is not our gross income. That's also something to take into consideration. Really, it makes the most sense when you're creating a personal budget to base it off of your personal budget and your personal income. If this were a business budget, which it totally could be, I would be moving off of a gross income, but this is just for our net income. So altogether, each month, we're looking at about a minimum of $10,000 that we will bring home. And so our income will be roughly $124,000. It's also worth notating that I do have this other/additional section up here for income. We don't ever get a tax refund. We owe taxes, in fact, a 5-figure number each year. So I'm not anticipating any kind of child tax credit or any kind of tax refund or any kind of additional money. Honestly, I always say the only money that we get is money that we actually work for. So this one doesn't have zeros, or it's bothering me. So we're going to do that. Okay, that is our income. Now let's go ahead and talk about our bills. So I have this section here for all of our bills. They're really not in order of when they're due. I just kind of have them on here kind of based on how I feel that they should be listed. So as an example, mortgage, security, those are really important. Pest control, electricity, cell phones. I kind of have them in order of importance, which I feel like makes the most sense because obviously we're in a place where we do have some discretionary income, but if you're not, you want to make sure you're getting your bills paid first and foremost. And honestly, it will never matter how much money we have. I'm always going to prioritize, making room for our bills. So you could categorize them by date, when they're due and all that if you want to, but that is not the case for us. So we have our mortgage up first, and look how much we're going to pay towards our mortgage. Now, this is tricky because this is our mortgage as we know it, but with property taxes and escrow, our mortgage sometimes fluctuates a few dollars each year whenever they kind of get the new number. So that could potentially change, but as of right now, this is what we're expecting. And we can't really budget off of what we don't know. We can't really do anything based off of what we don't know. We can only budget off of what we do know. So as of right now, we are looking at putting $18,000 towards our mortgage in 2022. Next up, we have security. We're going to pay Vivint $51.47 each month, which is going to be a total of $617.64. Same for pest control, $552. We actually signed a yearly contract, or we signed our first contract, which was for $552. So that is perfect and to a T. Now here's the one that's a little debatable, which is electricity. So we actually have lower months during the cooler months. So our electricity could be $80, $70, but in the warmer months, we can do $250, $270. So our average though, based on what I see when I look at our data in Georgia Power is about $200. It's really like $150, but I like to budget for $200 each month just to be on the safe side. Now for electricity, you can do budget billing if you want, which will give you an average amount that you would pay each month, and it would be the same amount if you don't like having to deal with the uncertainty of an electricity bill. Or you can budget a higher amount, maybe a little higher than the average each month, and whatever you don't spend, you can put it in a savings account and then pull that money out when you need it. So if our bill is $80 in January, I could budget $200, pay $80, save the $120, and maybe start using that for June or July or whenever we do get a higher electricity bill. Cell phones, this is based off of me taking up our cell phone bill and getting faster speeds. Currently we pay $80, but like I mentioned before, I'm thinking about bumping that to us both having the $45 plans, which would be $90 even each and every month. So that's just a projection. Internet, $70, $80, unless we have to try to renew the contract or something like that. We are looking at paying $70-$80 for 2022. Water/sewer, as I mentioned, unless we're like heavily running the sprinklers or something out of this world, our bill is always $36.60, but it could fluctuate. But for the past year, it's been $36.60. My student loans are in a forbearance. My husband's are as well. They will come out of the forbearance in January, at the end of January. So that would mean that our first bill would be due in February. Now, of course, we are anticipating paying off my husband's student loans, but I really want to consult with our financial advisor. We need to do that anyway because we've had some major life changes and we need to see how we need to move forward in 2022. But I am not confident. I can't say confidently right now if we are going to just go ahead and pay off my husband's student loans. I feel like we should. And I really want to, like once they come out of the forbearance, but I really want to chat it up with our financial advisor because we kind of know what we want for our life, but we're also just learning about investing and learning about all of that. And we want to make sure it's a good decision. So let's say worst case scenario, we do not. I like to do worst case scenario in all situations, not best case scenario when it comes to money. I have our bills at $250, our student loan payments. I don't know how much they're going to be. They're still in a virus forbearance. I'm kind of just doing $250 because I think I paid around $220 before they were in the forbearance, and my husband paid a minimum payment of like $70. That's because his amount is much lower and whatnot. So I just did $500, which would be a whole lot, but we really don't know how these servicers are going to act post-COVID. So I'm a little concerned actually, which is one of the reasons that would have us really paying off my husband's student loans very quickly. But I just have that at $250 starting in February. For life insurance, that's going to be the same. That's the same for 10 years. So $42.19. Ashley Furniture. As you know, we have some furniture that we finance because there's no interest. And so technically this should be paid off much sooner than this, like March. But I've been thinking about after we pay off this, or, really close to that time, getting these other items that I saw that they have. So for which case I kind of just threw in the amount that would then pay off those as well, with no interest, of course. So that's why this is pretty easy, because I can go on the website, see how much the items are, which they are chairs. I can see how much it's going to cost us. And then, that's kind of where I got this number from. So I definitely don't see us paying them for, Q4 in 2022 for sure, but we will see. Car payment, that's the same all year. Netflix, $13.99, unless they change it, that's the same. This game that my husband plays, that's the same. Amazon Music, that's going to be $3.99. Now our pet, we are going to pay $84.93 because that's her wellness plan plus her spaying. But eventually in February is what they said, when the plan renews after a year, her spaying will fall off and then our bill will be $55.35. I know this because I just talked to somebody about it who gave me these exact numbers, which is also a tip that I would recommend, is to be calling however many companies that you can to kind of see what the new year is going to look like. And then we have our retirement at $2,000. I could potentially have this in a different section, but we really do treat it like a bill, and therefore we include it in our budget in the bill section. And so this comes out around the 1st of each month, and this is our additional retirement. The reason why I talked about talking to our financial advisor is because now my husband's retirement plan is honestly out of this world. It's actually, he's a part of one of the best retirement plans in this part of the world, this part of the country. And so we want to talk to, his account is growing very rapidly, and we made it that way. We do need to talk to our financial advisor for sure. Those are all of our bills, as you can see, total bills. So just FYI, this is going to be the total for our income based on these 4 sections here, as you can see. And then the same thing holds true for our total bill. So this is going to be based on the first bill all the way down to the last bill, like such. So as we go across here, we can see how much of our monthly budget is going to be going to bills. This number is how much of our annual money, our annual budget, is going to be going to each specific bill. Hopefully that makes sense. So as you can see, by the time that we're finished paying for our bills each month, we will have about $5,000 left over, which is about $61,000. But then we have to pay for our expenses. So that brings us to this section. One thing that I want to show y'all is that in our budget each month, we have a category called shopping, and this is all that it encompasses. So let's take away the extra savings, and you will see that the total expenses for our expenses each month, that amount is $1,500, which is what I share with you roughly. Well, I think I just shared it with you for the first time, the actual $1,500 in November. That was because $1,200 and $1,300 weren't really working out. So each month, this is the breakdown for the $1,500. So we have $50 going towards toiletries, $650 towards food/dates, for our gas for our cars, $200, pet $100, miscellaneous $100, house $200, and reckless AF $200. I think that's all. And the pet is really for her food and treats and toys and stuff like that. So we just buy her things when we buy our food and stuff like that. So that is where we get the $1,500. So when I added back in the $500 for extra savings, that brought us to $2,000. So basically about $1,500 for our expenses each month. And I just did something that made the screen magnify, but honestly, I'm not mad at it. So $600 roughly for toiletries. And at the end of the month, I can always come in here and actually update the figure so that I can really see what was spent. But right now I'm budgeting $600 for toiletries each year, $7,800 for food and dates, so on and so forth. And I love getting this picture like this. I think it's a very accurate depiction. Now in debt, we're going to come back and fill in this amount. Before the savings, we kind of talked about it, and we thought that saving $500 in an emergency fund would be what we would like to do in 2022. It's just a personal preference, really. So that is why we are at $2,000 $2,000. So next, let's move to sinking funds. So sinking funds would be like short-term savings accounts and really just money that we may or may not spend. So each month there's no guarantee we're going to spend on medical, holidays, or birthdays. The reason why I say that is, let's take June as an example. There's no major holiday that we celebrate. There's no major birthday that we celebrate. So we may or may not spend this money, which is why it's kind of in a category of its own. We also have anniversary, pet, clothing, beauty, giving/donating, vacation, transportation tags, entertainment, and home maintenance. And so let's talk about these sinking funds. So I figure it would be worth saving about $40 per month for medical expenses. So currently, while we do need to start saving up soon for a child, because here in America, sometimes it costs money to have a child. Actually, I'm kind of basing it off of what my coworker paid, which I really shouldn't be paying, but which I really shouldn't be doing, but we have the same insurance. And she paid, I think, $4,000 to $5,000 to have her child. So I'm kind of assuming that's how much it will cost after insurance, but who knows? Obviously, we're not going to be saving up for that this year. Once we get pregnant, that's when I feel like it's most appropriate for us to save up for that. Otherwise, I'm just saving up for like random medical expenses, like a copay here or there. My husband's glasses and contacts cost him about $175 each year. Just random stuff like that, which is why we're at $480. For holidays/birthdays, I feel like $2,400 is appropriate for any holiday spending or birthday spending. For anniversary, I have us saving $50 per month, and we've already started these sinking funds for 2021, so I'm just showing you 2022. But if we save $50 per month, then by the time our anniversary rolls around, which is in November, we should have about $600, and then we would just kind of repeat. And I think $600 would be plenty unless we're taking a major vacation, but we already have a vacation fund, so we don't really have to focus on that. This is just for like maybe a staycation for our anniversary, or a mini or like maybe we just get each other some gifts or something, whatever. I think $600 is plenty. For pets, really what I want to do is start saving up for basically like if she needs any kind of surgery or anything like that. I certainly don't want to be caught off guard having to pay however much for a surgery. She does have a wellness plan, but sometimes those wellness plans don't cover everything. And so I don't know where I want this number to sit realistically, maybe like 2,000. I don't know. This is my first pet. So I don't really know, but I certainly don't ever want to be in a position where I have to choose between her living or not. So I just want to have some money saved up for that. So we're just going to save $100, and then maybe once it gets to like 2,000-3,000, we'll cap it. But as of right now, $100. Clothing/beauty. We currently probably spend $125 a year on clothes, like real talk, but we each keep talking about how we do want to, you know, maybe up the ante, look a little better. I do thoroughly enjoy getting my hair done and stuff like that. Nails, pedicures, all that. So I feel like $125 is good. That's $1,500. That's good enough if you ask me. Next up, we have giving/donating. This is just going to be like random miscellaneous giving/donating that we do. And so this does not include any major giving that we do. This budget is actually, I should have mentioned this before. Well, I kind of did. This is our net income. And so this is what we do with, this is what we do with our money after we've already taken care of some of our other major obligations, if that makes any sense. Okay, so next up we have vacation. We don't have any planned vacations, but let's say we do go somewhere, that'll be good because we'll have some money for it, hopefully. Transportation/tags. Tags are literally $40 per year for us, $20 each. So really this is transportation as far as car maintenance and just also saving up for a car. So let's say we only spend like $500 on car maintenance in the new year. My car gets, our newest car gets maintained by Toyota for, we prepaid it because we have Toyota Care. So it's really just for the Prius, which never needs any maintenance whatsoever outside of regular maintenance. So I love that. But she is getting older. But let's say we only spend $500. Then at the end of the year, we would have plenty of money for a car fund. And so we would continue that into 2023, provided, you know, the car doesn't mess up in 2022. And then we can, you know, kind of add to that until we have a solid amount for a new car. I don't know what that would look like. Next up, we have entertainment. This is really like concerts and like, you know, just like things that we do that aren't really dates, because if it's like a regular date night, it'll come from this category. But like any kind of entertainment, I don't know, a festival or something crazy like that, which wouldn't be a date by any means, but it also might not really fall into the vacation category. You know, who knows? Next up, we have home maintenance. So now our HOA fees are going to come out of here for the month of January. But other than that, this is going to be for like any decor, any other type of furnishings, any home repairs. Our house isn't even 2 years old yet, so I'm assuming we don't have anything major. I'm assuming this will all mainly go to like furnishings and upgrades and like those types of things, not like actual repairs. But, you know, who knows? Which brings me to my other point. I did want to clarify house, because this is actually for like decor and furnishings as well. So these two might overlap, but the goal is to always, when we bring in extra money, that's when we normally spend money on the house. That's why the house isn't furnished or decorated yet, because we actually don't really budget for it to be. We just kind of budget a small amount, and then we either save up for something nice, or this time we put something on a credit card, actually. So we're trying to get this house decorated and furnished, but I'm gonna be honest, it's not a huge priority. Okay, so that brings us to the total for our sinking funds, which is fluid because money may be coming in and going out, but that brings us to a budget of $1,500 per month. And so this amount here is going to be our total income minus our total bills, minus our total expenses, minus our total sinking funds. And that gives us $1,804.71 for January. And then for February, it looks a little different. And you can see the average is usually, I think the number that shows up the most is this one here. At any rate, it is total $21,481.90. And so at this point, that's when we have to figure out, what are we going to do with that money? My husband and I actually recently talked about it, and we went back and forth, and I'll share with you what we came up with. But basically, with our current income, again, I am looking for a new job, which would pay higher, or I'm interested in this job that would pay much higher. So that number could really go way, way up. But for right now, we are looking at $21,500. And so we don't really believe in blowing money. We don't have any real interest in buying a bunch of stuff. So as to make sure that we are doing right by our money and doing what we think is best, well, first of all, we still need to talk to our financial advisor, but let me tell you what we're looking at as of right now. So down here, we have our 2022 debt payoff and savings goals. And so we have our Ashley Furniture. In January, the balance will be about $1,000. I think that's an accurate number. I just kind of look real quick, but I kind of really just deducted the 200, but that'll be about accurate. Also, we have car loan. That is a number based on my guesstimate. It's not an exact amount. I think that one is an exact amount. And then we have my husband's student loans. So let's say we pay off my husband's student loans, not using any of this income because we could use our savings as an example. Then that would leave, I'm not going to erase it, but that would leave just these two. So about $18,000, right? Okay, so then we have to figure out, what are we going to do? How are we going to approach these two loans if we did pay off my husband's loans at the end of the forbearance using none of the money from our 2022 income? Then we would have, so if you look at these two numbers, we have 18,000 and change. And then over here, we have $21,000. So as you can see, technically, if everything goes as planned, we could pay off both of these debts with the discretionary income. Again, I still want to consult with our financial advisor about some things. I'm not worried about the Ashley Furniture. Like, that's not that big of a deal. So really, it would be more so like the car loan. Are we going to attack that in 2022? If we did, then we would come up here and we would say that this $1,804.71 would go to extra debt. And then we would have a zero-based budget, which means that all of our money, all $10,000 is accounted for, and we have no money remaining, which is the goal. Of course, things kind of fluctuate within each month. This is why this is really just like a big picture for the entire year. Same thing would apply to all these other numbers. We would plug them in up here, and if we plugged in the numbers just how they are, they would give us this exact balance here. But let's say we do pay off the car loan and Ashley Furniture, we'd actually have a little bit of money left over. So this section here is really just a place for us to kind of map out how we're going to pay off our debt each month. Let's say we did want to do 108471 to, well, let's say we wanted to do 108471 here for January, then you will see the amount that we're paying off each month. So that is what is going on there. So this number, these figures here aren't a part of this because it would just be too confusing. I just like to keep these separate. This is just a place for me to fill in information. It's not going to compute anything or calculate anything other than how much we're paying each and every month. So that you have to stay tuned for that because I really don't know what we're going to do, but I can see how much we have to work with. And so I wanted to pop back up here because based on what we're going to send to our retirement right here, we have $24,000. And so right here you have invest $50,000. That is because I know how much we are investing through my husband's job already. And so with this new job, or one of the new jobs that I'm trying to get, I've also kind of pictured or factored in what that might actually look like. And so if I did get this new job or one of the new jobs, then we would be able to invest across all platforms about $50,000 in the year 2022, which is a cool goal if you ask me. Now, save $6,000 for emergency fund. Well, this number here, that is that amount. Extra savings, $6,000. That's why I got that number popping off the screen. So it'll be clear as day. So $6,000 there. And then I have pay off 2 debts because either we are going to pay off the Ashley Furniture and the car loan, or the Ashley Furniture and the student loans. But I don't know really how we're going to work that out. The student loans, technically, if we did pay them off at the end of the virus forbearance, that wouldn't really be a 2022 goal because that would be money that we have been saving or have saved up prior to 2022. So even if we did do that, then that would mean that we could pay off these 2 debts. That is what we have here. And then at the bottom, I have a place for us to track our savings and our cash flow at the start of 2022, which is technically January. It's also here. It would likely be the same. This is the start. I could also change this to the ending and just kind of track the ending balance each month or something like that. So just kind of a place to do some tracking for our annual budget. One thing that I want to notate is that this isn't like a net worth tracker or anything like that. This is merely to see what our income is going to be in 2022, what our expenses are going to be, our bills, how much debt we have, and really just strategize on how we intend to move into the year 2022 and how we intend to, kind of make it out of there alive and in one piece and with doing the best by our money that we can. Naturally, if we're paying off debt or sending X amount towards investing each month, then obviously our net worth will increase and all that. And I do track our net worth elsewhere, but this just gives me a big picture of what 2022 is going to look like. Okay, you guys, so that is it for today's video. I hope that this information was useful. Any links or anything like that will be down in the description box. Make sure that you return next week because we are going to be diving further, deeper, and more intensely into some of our other routines. So again, that is it for this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you in my next one. Bye, guys.